Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, friends and neighbors, and everyone in between.
Everyone in between?
Yeah.
Who's in between friends and neighbors?
I don't know.
Relatives and brothers and sisters?
Sure.
Like
Everybody.
they're not quite friends, but they're not as far away as neighbors.
Hey, Mishmash.
Hey, family.
It should be about something. It's Thursday. It's
is.
8:30.
This is Jim Libby.
And this is Michael Smolik.
And this is...
It should be about something. And we're awfully glad to be back online and hoping that this time it's all smooth. What do you think?
Well, it looks pretty smooth from here, but let's see what the peeps do in the chat. Maybe we'll get some bad disses, man.
Yeah, well, we're always happy when somebody's in the chat to let us know whether we're actually being seen and heard.
Yeah. So before we actually get on to anything,
Yeah.
This is the first time that somebody left us a tip before the show started.
What?
Right? Yeah. So
What?
so check this out. So Verena.
Verena?
Thank you, sweetheart.
Everybody wave to Verena.
Yeah, everybody wave to Verena. And everybody wave to Donna.
Donna? Everybody wave to Donna.
And
That's great. Hey, Donna. Hey, look, Pavlov's dog's here. Moko. Yeah, we went red. We'll talk about that in a second.
yeah, we got some art going on.
Yeah.
And Monica.
Monica.
Monica was #1 today. Why everybody wave at
Everybody wave to
the
Monica.
screen. Yeah, Monica.
That's amazing.
So you guys.
Thank you all so very much. That's really super
So
awesome.
we went and blew all the money you sent us
Yeah.
on this art. We had this specially made up.
Yeah, that's not true at all. No. This is, in fact, a painting done by a good buddy of mine, Julian Kohl.
Is this Meatball Julian?
Yeah, it's
I didn't
Meatball
realize
Julian.
this was Meatball Julian.
Yeah. He made that a number of years ago.
It's not the only thing that Julian's really good at making. Julian
right.
makes the super good meatballs.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. You know, he's known as a former world-class model and present-day incredibly successful painter, but
I know him as the man who makes meatballs that
really
I
good
like.
meatballs.
Really good meatballs.
So, Julian, if you're out there, buddy,
Much ado.
much ado.
Nice to see you, much ado.
Oh, so this is something I love so much.
Muchado.
Last week when we were like, hey, muchado, and it was like, muchado. And then at the end, it's just much ado. And this,
Yeah.
I love it so much. Muchado.
Yeah. Because-
Much ado, muchado.
Because you and I assume, oh, yes, we're talking to the planet, right? This is somebody in Brazil.
Muchado, much ado.
Much ado. So
It
much
reminded
ado.
me of
Moko and Pavlov's. Nice.
Did I tell you my story about going to the bakery and getting brovnia?
Brovnia?
Yeah.
What's Brovnia?
So it was Sunday morning and
In Vienna.
in Vienna, and there's this wonderful Turkish bakery.
Ah.
And I go there and I'm getting some semmel and some stuff for the breakfast that we're gonna have. And I see these 2 sheets of cakey kind of things next to the baklava and the other honey kind of stuff. And they look good. And I'm like, and I asked the lady behind, I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
And she says, oh, these is brovnia. And I was like, brovnia, cool. What's brovnia? And she said, brovnia is brovnia, choco brovnia, vanilla brovnia. And I'm like, okay, cool. All right, brovnia, yeah, I'd like to have some. And then she goes down underneath and she pulls out a little sign and she says, brovnia. And the sign says brownie. They're brownies. They're chocolate brownies and vanilla brownies. But she has always said brovnia.
Brovnia.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah, but she's not even Turkish. She sounds like she's
Brovnia.
Yugoslavian.
Yeah. And I was just like,
like the-
okay, brovnia.
It's a Bosnian brownie.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Machado, brovnia.
Yeah, muchado, yeah.
We can have some brovnia someday.
L21 T24.
Hello.
Nice to have you back.
What do you suppose L21 T24
I don't know. I think
stands
it's
for?
something like someone's messing with how well we know the alphabet. How many letters does the alphabet have? Is it 24?
26.
26.
Yes.
This is TX. It's way too late in the evening to be calculating backwards.
Well, I think
Calculating backwards from Z. That is the title of my new album.
calculating backwards from Z. I love
So
it.
what's happened this week?
Not a lot.
It's been stuff as usual kind of thing.
I think we have talked so much about it. I want to get right to it. We've got 3 things we want to talk about today.
The
things
first
that
thing
it should be about.
that we want to talk about is something that is close to our hearts, and I think it was your topic.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Topic number 1?
Topic number 1.
Topic number 1 tonight on It Should Be About Something is...
Losing. Losing.
I was thinking it's such a big topic.
It's huge. It's huge. It's huge.
So maybe we should define where we want to start.
Well, let's start with this one. Are you a good loser?
I think I'm a pretty good loser. Or let me actually say this. So maybe I'm not the best loser on the planet, but I have played chess and other games against people who are worse losers.
Right.
So I know what I'm talking about, right? I know people who are really, really bad losers.
Yeah.
And I'm nowhere near as bad as that. Like I know people who will throw the chessboard across the room if they lose.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I know those people too. I think I'm a fairly good loser. Like in games, I don't care about it because generally I don't care about the game, you know, because
Yeah.
the game is there to play the
Yeah.
game. And
What about when you're gambling? Are you a good or bad gambling loser?
I don't gamble very often.
Hmm.
I don't
Got the
think so.
squeaky chairs again.
Yeah, we got the squeaky chairs. I don't gamble very often.
Yeah.
When I do, I usually have a budget
Yeah,
because I
me
figure
too, me too.
that's the point, right?
And that's why I never get angry about losing at gambling, because I set a budget, and I set the budget not to this is what I'd like to gamble with. It's like this is what I can afford to lose
Yeah, yeah,
without having to kill myself.
yeah. This is what I think tonight is going to be worth. I'm going to have a good time.
Okay, that's a whole different ball game.
Oh, no,
that's got
serious.
nothing to do with gambling.
Oh, no, but that's what I mean. Like, if you go to the casino.
This is what tonight is worth. That involves, I don't know, strippers and drugs and
but these are-
limousines.
But Michael, you're talking about line items. You're talking about line items of the entire evening. This is, and then one of those line items is the casino.
Is the casino.
Right? And so I decide I'm gonna spend, you know, $300 tonight. With $300, if I lose it, I know I will have had
James
a good
F.
time.
Libby, a man who really earns more than you think he does.
James Franklin Livy II, Sofield Simon's son. A man
James F. Libby II.
who doesn't gamble nearly as often and can pick numbers out of the air.
Yeah.
In any case, I'm an okay loser, but I think there are different parts of life where I'm a sore loser.
I don't like losing to people who cheat. So
nobody
if you're
likes
losing
that.
to someone who's cheated to beat you, that annoys me no end.
Right.
I can get really stroppy about that.
Yeah, sure, but nobody.
No, I can get stroppy about that when it's not even worthwhile getting stroppy about it. Like,
What about
I was
losing?
playing a game of Trivial Pursuit,
Okay.
and the person I was playing against didn't know the answer,
Right.
but got given the pie because the person giving away the pie said, "Yeah, I know you know this. I know you know the answer to this." And boy, did I get stroppy about that.
Was this person
So the
12?
next question I had the wrong answer, and I said, "Yeah, but I get a pie." And they were like, "No, you don't." Well, he got it wrong too, so I get a pie, obviously.
Yeah, okay. I hear you, yeah.
I was playing against twin brothers.
Oh, man.
Yeah, fuck those guys.
I mean, bending the rules is What about this? How are you about losing a role? Michael's an actor.
Yeah. Depends who I lose it to. There's been I said, looking hard at James F. Libby II. I know. I got offered a part in a play about 15 years ago, 12 maybe. And
It's been a
I
very
read the piece,
long
and I said to the
COVID
director,
time.
I want to play this part.
You said to the director?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
After I'd read the play. And the director got back to me and said, "No, I've already cast someone else for that part. The part you can play is the other one." And I was like, "I don't want to play that part." And the director said, "Yeah, but I've already given the other part to..." And then I was like, "Oh, all right. I can accept that."
Right.
Because
Right.
the person who...
But had
the
he-
actor,
had-
but
had
had
this-
that actor been you, I would have got stroppy about it.
I was going to say, had that actor been, then, shit would have gone down.
There are definitely people I will not bend to or bow to.
Right. I want to know from the chat, folks, hello and how are you? What's the place in your life where you just aren't a good loser, where you hate it? I mean, I think there are a lot of folks that hate losing at all. You know, like there are some folks that,
Yeah.
you know, like even if it's just a
Well, it's
frisbee,
kind of
you know, where
pathological.
you
You have
can't
to win all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there are, you know, and there are some folks that are like that in general. I don't think I'm like that in general.
You mentioned frisbee now because we have experienced broken ribs at frisbee.
Yeah,
right?
but like
Yeah.
Ultimate Frisbee, that's a great example, you know, which is a game that we should get back into. That was really fun. I mean, it's really hard. But the number one rule of Ultimate Frisbee is
No
the spirit
contact.
of the game.
No, it's a zero contact game.
It is, however, but the first rule of the game is the so-called spirit of the game, that you play the game to play the game and not necessarily to win or lose. And that's why it's the...
Never played a game of Ultimate Frisbee, ever, where it was not about winning it.
Well, I don't know who the hell you
Maybe
were
I
playing with.
joined the group too late, but when I joined, the Ultimate Frisbee clan clique that we were in, it was about fucking winning. That's what it was about.
I think you brought to it what you want to bring to it.
Right.
No,
Yeah. I
mean,
joined it after the broken ribs. This is all I'm saying.
One was ambitious, absolutely, but that's why that's one of the things I loved about that game. You know, it was very improv. It's the only team sport that doesn't have a referee because everyone's self-referees, and so that no contact thing is absolutely true. And you know, you with the pivoting and stuff, you know, you play the game to play the game, and you want to play the game well, sure, absolutely, and maybe you want to get better at it. But I also think that losing is important because that's how you learn to get better at the game, if that makes sense.
Well, the Inner Theatre Project plays to win.
Yeah, you play to win, and I get that too. I get that. That because I think that's very bound up in ambition, perhaps. You know, you play to win. If you're not there to win, then why are you there?
Sometimes I'm just there for a good time.
Right, and maybe it's because my experience has often been in competitions of things that really aren't competitions. I mean, I remember.
Well, there's things that are competitions for some people, but they aren't for me.
Sure, but that's.
I'm happy to take part, but
and I think that's part of it. Is which game are you then playing at?
Yeah. Like if you're not getting paid to play the game, it's not that important. If you're not getting paid to win, if your rent is not attached to that win, it can't be that important.
Right. I think we're mixing spheres. Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. So
We are mixing spheres here,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Einstein said.
A little bit. So my point being that
Losing is for losers.
losing is for losers.
Yeah. Your point is, yeah.
I don't know what my point is anymore.
What is your
trying to
point?
get back to the
As Einstein said. What is your point?
I don't know anymore. You ruined my point.
Sorry.
I can't figure it out now. I lost the conversation, and now I'm pissed at losing it. Maybe that's the loss.
I wanna, if it is something I know I'm good at, but then someone better comes along, I can get pissy. So when you think you're good at something, but you really aren't.
Well, that's loss of ego. That's the jealousy, right?
So do you get pissy when your ego gets pissied upon?
Oh, sure.
Example.
Right now.
That's a horrible thing to say online.
No.
Putting your partner on the spot like that. That's a James
Right.
F. Libby.
No. Okay.
Classic.
So I think.
Thank you for that.
I think in those spheres, when you are trying to, on the ambitious side of the win, are we here to win or are we here to lose?
Yeah.
Absolutely, because that's the actual game. In my life, in my context, I've never really been involved in competitions like in theater. Yeah, we have theater competitions, but it's not about winning or losing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think the winning
because you can't really win at theater, which is a thing that I talked to Sarah about.
Sarah?
Yeah, Sarah, who was a guest of ours.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
That's Sarah.
yeah.
I was just checking out. Yeah.
Go ahead. They know.
You know what?
They know.
They know. They know.
They know what I'm talking about.
They know what, because they were there.
Yeah.
But you can win in theatre if you win a role.
Yeah, but that's a different game. That's a
or
different
your
game. And
theatre
this is what I'm
company
talking
wins
about.
the trophy and gets the prize.
Yes,
kind of
absolutely. But those are each different kind of games,
Hmm.
and those are those different spheres, and those are what Machado was saying. That's the point.
thing.
It
Machado,
depends
you're
on
stuck
what-
to that name, much ado. Sorry.
Yeah,
It's
sorry,
just
much
going to be
ado.
Machado. We're going to do that.
on what and the situation. And because the spheres mix very often, that's when we get confused. Like, you could really be pissed off about losing roles to whomever. And it's your ego that's actually getting hurt. And in fact, you didn't lose anything, right? I mean, we lose roles all the time.
Yeah,
now,
I don't know.
you can fuck
it,
up
It
and
pisses me off when I don't get a gig that is paid really well and somebody else got it.
yeah?
Yeah.
See, I don't get pissed off at that. I don't allow myself to get pissed off at that because it's just burning me. I always think there are hundreds of roles every day that I didn't even get a chance to get at. You get a chance at something and then you do your thing. Well, you know, it either sparks or it doesn't. And if you don't get it, you never had it. And it's that parallel universe of hope that opens up. And that's why I always say I never believe I have a job until I'm sitting in a chair and a large-breasted person is putting makeup in my face.
They have to be large-breasted.
I don't know. I just had to get the
For
sentence out
James
before you interrupted
F.
me at the end of it again.
Libby, it has to be large-breasted. And I'm just playing my role in this whole thing.
I hear
my
you.
role is to interrupt James whenever he does things.
It's pissing when someone not as good as you gets the part. But see, that's the thing. That's your ego. It's your ego saying it's not it's always about the communion. And if it doesn't spark, it's like dating. You know, why force it or be pissed off? Sure, you're frustrated or you're upset because you had all this hope, but it was a parallel universe that didn't exist, and we were just sort of attaching some sentiment to it. But it never was there. It was just a possibility. And so I always try to let go of that and just be like, well.
So that was today's life hack, right there, everybody. I'm gonna edit that little 15-second Jim Libby saying out and put it on the ether for you. Life hacks.
There you go.
Yeah.
But nobody likes losing.
Yeah, but what about losing it? Verena says, I hate it when I'm losing it.
Losing it. Well, that's a whole nother thing, right?
Does that count as losing?
I like it, though.
It's a good take on the subject, actually.
I hate it when I'm losing it. Absolutely. You know, when you get to that point where you are in the middle of having had lost it, and you're like looking at yourself, and you know that you've lost it, but you're powerless to stop it.
Oh, you're talking about aggression.
Well, or just in the frustration or the
Yes, the
emotional
frustration,
or the emotional thing or whatever it is.
You know you're rowing towards the cliffs.
Yeah, I think we spoke about this recently, didn't we?
It seems like something we speak about a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
God,
and you can't stop yourself because the endorphins and the hormones are in your bloodstream, and you just have to keep rowing till they're gone.
Yeah.
You know?
And some often lose it when they're losing. This just reminded me of a little story. So this is years ago, and I was living in an apartment, and I bought a bunch of new furniture, and I had a bed from the Swedes, and I had some other kitchen utensils from the Swedes, and I bought from the Swedes a butcher's block for the kitchen. So I had like a work
like a thigh.
yeah,
high,
like on wheels, so I could move it. And it was a nice big thick thing, but you know, you had to put it together, and it was hot on this day. It was really hot, and I'm working on the thing, and I'm sweaty, and there was this one piece that just did not want to go inside. It just did not want to get in there. And I'm messing with it, and I'm shifting it, and I'm like, oh, and I'm taking it apart again, and I'm putting it back. And then one piece just did not want to fit. And finally, I did something, and it slipped, and my hand banged against the thing, and it hurt. And I was sweaty and hot, and I just went to the bed that I had built the day before and just kind of laid down on it. As soon as I hit it, the whole bed went as well. And I lost it while losing to an inanimate object.
The Swedes and their furniture.
Yeah.
Right? They used to have their thing was, wohnst du noch oder lebst du schon? Or lebst du
Lebst du noch oder wohnst du schon?
Right?
Yeah.
And I changed that to schraubst du noch oder spinnst du schon?
That's very good, Michael. Wow, that's
Because
really good. I like that.
That shit used to drive me crazy.
Schraubst du noch oder spinnst du schon? I like it. Man, I need a cheers on that one.
Yeah, okay. With
I'm
booze.
proud of you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, losing it while you lose it is tough, but a cathartic and good for you. Yeah, they say like when you, if you swear, when you get hurt, you know, that the pain is milder.
Mm-hmm.
I've read that.
Yeah. Yeah, I always feel better when I swear, when things go wrong.
Yeah.
It's not always good for people who are around you.
Fuck
Like-
no.
you start swearing around, you know, your family members and your friends,
Shit, yeah.
and they're suddenly party to an aspect of you that they never get to see or rarely get to see. I think it can be quite scary.
Great big motherfucking rats with dicks this long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh Gott. We had
Lernst
that
du noch oder lebst
tagline
du schon?
slightly more. Lernst du noch oder lebst du schon?
Brilliant. Yes.
Pavlov's dog. Love
Oh
it.
Gott.
Hey, Michael, you know what?
Yeah.
This would be the moment when we finally get it together that the thing would go, zhigga, zhigga, zhigga,
Yeah,
zhigga.
the stinger.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, that's our next project. We're working on that. So again,
Mix it up.
imagine special effects.
Yeah.
And now we're going to move on to chapter 2.
Welcome back.
Hey,
After
everybody.
That amazing stinger.
Hey,
And chapter 2 today is
welcome back to It Should Be About Something. Chapter 2 today is
pets.
pets.
Yeah.
Pets.
Any kind of pets.
Okay, so right at the top, I want to know from the chat, who has a pet? What kind of pet do you have?
What is the weirdest pet you ever had?
And what is your current pet?
How many pets have you had at one time?
Okay. That's
What,
a
like,
good one.
what's the highest number of pets you ever had at one, like, at the same time?
All right, so Michael, break it down for me. Are you a pet person?
Yes, I think I'm a pet person.
When did you become a pet person?
I think I was born into being a pet person.
Are your parents pet people?
These days, not so much, but I think they are in general pet people.
So your parents were pet people.
Yes, my parents were pet people, but not my pet people.
Perhaps, possibly, your parents were pet people through your puberty. I'm just doing the P's. Okay,
Yeah.
so you were born into a pet family.
Well, when I was born, oh wait a minute, when I was born, my family only had a cat, which
your family had a cat.
got adopted out of a warehouse,
Aw.
and it was, yeah, it had nuts and bolts in its stomach. It was kind of it had to be taken to the vet and its life saved.
It's kind of like Moko. She has a pet and
I had
children.
with the pet.
I had a friend say, a kid is like having a dog that slowly learns to talk.
That is in our outtake of dating.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Weird.
I was messing around
Do
with that.
several fish count as one pet?
No, I think several fish count
Every
as
fish is beautiful.
God
in
loves
its
everyone.
own way. Yeah. Okay, so you were born into a pet family. I was not born into a pet family.
You did not grow up with pets?
That is not what I said.
Ah.
I was not born into a pet family. A pet was then brought into my family much later.
Yeah.
We weren't pet people.
Was it a weird thing?
It was a wonderful thing. When my dad brought home an Irish setter that had been abused, and and she was so skittish at first and so scared, and then she just became this wonderful dog, and then there was a thing where my youngest sister was allergic to her.
Ah.
And so she had to stay outside, and then we eventually had to.
And you
give
lived
her
in
away.
Maine, which is kind of cold outside in winter.
Well, yeah, and it was. I mean, she was fine. I mean, she lived out. She would be inside and sometimes outside, but then it just got too much, and then we had to give her away, and that was really sad.
We had outside dogs
Uh-huh.
and inside cats.
Wow.
In South Africa. Because the weather was always warm enough for dogs to be outside.
Right. Right.
And the cats were allowed inside, or basically because they were just less messy and less hooliganist. But Pavlov saying you had what?
My neighbor's cats.
Dogs, yeah, but this is like the neighbors at the moment, but always dogs, tortoise, gerbils, mice, budgie, finches, 9 gerbils and a dog and a tortoise. So the most I ever had was
9
3
gerbils,
tortoises,
a dog, and a tortoise.
4 dogs, 5 cats, and 100 goldfish.
You had 100 goldfish at one time?
I started with 2 goldfish and they had babies. It's like more goldfish than I could count.
How big was the tank?
It was in the garden because South Africa, so it didn't freeze over. So it was a more like a pond.
Right.
And we had 2 goldfish in there to start off with.
Right.
And then suddenly we had like 100, 150, I don't know. We scooped them out at some point and had them in a tank. But it was like little goldfish like this, but you couldn't see the water for the
Because
goldfish.
there were so many goldfish.
Yeah.
There's so many
Water snails.
And snails as pets, and a horny masker dog, and hamsters and tortoise and fish. Okay, here's my question, Michael. Do you think it's important to live with pets? So many people have pets. The people all of the people that I know who have pets have loved their pets.
Yes.
I've
Even
luckily
if
never
they're
been involved
snails.
with anybody who had a living thing that they didn't like or take care of.
Well, I think having a pet teaches you a lot about empathy and caring. And also because pets tend to live much shorter lives than we do, it teaches you about life, the end of life cycles.
Yeah.
I was reminded today when I checked out what our topics were today. How many cat lives I've been through. So my life is measured in dog and cat lives. And there's a lot of them.
I'm not sure where you are. What do you mean there are a lot of them? Because you've had a lot of cats.
Yeah, but not all of them at the same time.
Right.
So we had 1 family cat, and then we had 2 family cats, then we had 3, and then we had 1 again.
Right.
So, and they all more or less died of old age, or they got run over.
The cats.
Yeah, the cats.
Yeah.
But a cat life is somewhere between 3 and 9 years, kind of thing.
I know what you mean. Okay, so I had, when I was still in my teens, before I came to Austria, I had a 1969 VW Beetle.
Is this the one that ended up in the pond?
No, that was the Plymouth Volare. But this Beetle, I drove around, and one night, it was late evening, summertime, and I parked in the parking lot of the 7-Eleven to run inside to get something. And when I came back, there was this little orange tabby cat in the car. It jumped in through
Like
the
a
window.
kitten?
No, well, a youngish cat.
Okay.
Not quite kitteny, but a little more teenagery. And I was like, oh, hello, who are you, and where did you come from? And I tried to get him to get out, and didn't want to get out, and I was like, okay, well, then you're coming with me. And I drove away. And this cat then got up into my lap, put one paw and the other paw up under the steering wheel, and just rode with me the entire time. So I called him Nigel, and we just started to hang out together.
Cool.
And Nigel
We had
hung out. Hold on a second. Let me finish.
Yeah.
I just want to get my Nigel thing finished. So Nigel, see, this was the thing. Just give me 2 more seconds.
Yeah.
So Nigel and I hang out, and we would go around. And he was the car cat. Wherever I went, he would jump out, and he would come back in whenever I was going to leave. And he was like a little dog. I would go to visit my friend's house. We'd get out. He'd go run away. I'd come back to the car.
Car dog for?
About 8 months. And then one day, Nigel just never came back. And
Did he get flat?
I never found out. I like to think that Nigel had come into or left my life the way he had come into it. Mysterious, cool as hell. That was Nigel.
Well, we had an orange cat
Yeah?
that used to get into cars. And we called it Traveller because it would always get into people's cars and drive away with them.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Maybe Traveller was Nigel, and he made it from South Africa to Maine.
He got in the undercarriage of a 747.
How cool would that have been? You know what?
Yeah.
That's our children's book right there.
Nigel the Travelling Cat.
Nigel.
The orange travelling cat.
Nigel the orange traveling
We had
cat.
one other orange cat,
Yeah.
and that was called she-male, because orange cats are usually male,
Right.
and the tortoiseshells are the female pendant to that.
Oh, okay, cool. Did not know that.
But we once had a female orange cat. They're kind of rare, so we decided to call her she-male,
Nice.
and we had her for a pretty long time. 10 years,
Right.
kind of thing.
I know what you mean about cat life. So then after Nigel, I shared life with a cat when I lived at the Hotel Pine Street, and there were 2 cats that I lived with there. And then when I came to Austria, I lived with 2 wonderful cats for a very long time. They both lived to be 20 years old.
But they are no longer around, is that right?
They
Yeah,
are
like
no
last
longer
year
around.
or year before
Yeah.
kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah. Grete and Marie. Good ones.
So,
But I have to tell you,
yeah,
I think I am done living with pets in my life.
really?
I
Because I'm this close to getting a new pet.
I hear you. I hear you. That close?
Yeah, like I've been online checking out dogs.
Okay, this is serious, people. If Uncle Mike has been online,
It's like he doesn't go online a lot. Like,
Okay.
He likes to stay away from that.
okay. So I'm going to tell you, my reasoning so far is that I've had those relationships and they've been fun, but I think I'm done with pets. That's not to say that if somewhere along the line that this will change, but at the moment I'm not looking for that relationship anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want to clean up anybody's
Oh
poop.
God, I hear you.
I don't want to clean up
the,
any more
the,
poop.
the cleaning up the poop and the potty training and all this stuff. But
There is one pet that I might like. Okay, there are 2 pets that I might like. One pet that I might like that's real is an aquarium that's filled with little tiny jellyfish
no,
that just sort of float around, and it's like and then maybe with like black light.
an octopus. I could have an octopus. There's a great movie on Netflix called My Octopus Teacher.
Is it good?
It's fantastic. It's a documentary
I love it. All right.
about this guy who befriends this octopus at the Cape of Good Hope. Get an eagle.
Get an eagle. Okay, so
You can set it out to hunt pigeons.
So the only other pet that I can really imagine that I would share a life with at the moment is like not real, but it would be a genetically modified giraffe or elephant. That if it's a giraffe, it's like this
bonsai?
tall. Yeah, like a bonsai giraffe, like just about this tall, or an elephant, but just about this, like this big, because that would be amazing. I would love to have a little tiny elephant or a little tiny giraffe just walking around. Maybe I'd put like a little, like a balloon on them so I would know where they are because they're so small. That I would get into wholeheartedly. Or maybe the jellyfish. I don't know. Depends on how loud they are. I would imagine the jellyfish to be not very loud.
Would you, because Marcus is talking about killing snails to feed the fish.
Right.
Like, how do you feel about killing other animals that live in your household to feed your pets? Like, it's almost killing almost pets. Like, if you had a snake,
right,
and you had a
some
whole
mice
family of mice
to
right?
feed the snake.
To feed the snake. So it's like, Andy,
it's the circle
Andy, you're up.
of life. And it
Would you be okay with that?
What?
Would you be okay with that?
Yeah.
What if you kept ducks? Would you be okay with slaughtering the ducks to eat them?
Okay, first of all, if I ever had a duck, it would simply be to eat them because ducks are assholes. And ducks can just suck it, but they taste really good.
Why do you hate ducks so much?
Oh, because they're rapist little fuckers. Ducks are so terrible that evolutionarily, they have evolved penises in a weird corkscrew.
You're talking about the male ducks now.
Yes, because ducks will fuck anything. They'll go cross species. And so species had to develop corkscrew vaginas so that only their species had the right corkscrew to get up in them to inseminate. So because ducks will just fuck whatever they can. Fuck a duck.
Dogs have got that.
The duck fucks. The ducks will fuck. Ducks fuck. Ducks fuck. No, they're even worse than that. They'll go for the dead things. They'll just go for it. And so, have you ever seen a duck's penis?
No.
They're so gross. At this point, I wish we had a chance to show you
I think the
what a
ducks
duck's
that I've
penis looks like.
eaten so far have always been female ducks.
They shoot out like a chameleon's tongue. And they're in this weird corks. They're so gross.
And this is why you hate them.
This is why, if ever I were to own a duck, it would simply be to eat them. I don't think I could get friendly with a duck.
Swans are worse, I hear, from Moko.
Swans, yeah. So
yeah, I think swans are more like just ducks with an attitude.
Yeah? Yeah, swans are dicks.
Like
Swans are dicks.
people used to eat swans.
Yeah.
Like kings and you know, well-to-do people used to eat swans like a couple of
People used to
ago.
eat pigeons.
Yeah, but pigeons are pigeons.
Yeah, I know.
No, they're not swans.
This is the
People eat
hierarchy.
pigeons today. Like if this is where swans are in the hierarchy, pigeons are down there somewhere. Pigeons are lower than chickens.
Duck dads eat the ducklets. Ducks are dicks. This is the whole thing, people. Thank you, Machado.
Okay, right.
Machado.
Please
No,
go to
that's not what I meant.
teespring.com for our Isbaz merchandise. Ducks are dicks.
Ducks are
That's
dicks.
the first T-shirt we're going to be putting out.
Well, yeah, but yeah, we are.
The next
being
one's going to
snobs.
be swans are worse.
But Marcus is right. We are being snobs because the fact is there are hierarchies, right? So yeah, you love the little mice, but shit, yeah, you're going to feed them to your snake if you
My
got
python.
the snake, your
Yeah.
python.
My Monty Python. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, or if you're going to have, you know, yeah, fuck it, I don't know.
So,
I don't wanna-
how are you impacted by losing a pet?
Oh. That's a tough one.
So
That's
how
for
did,
another
how did
time.
it feel when Grete and Marie, you know, kind of went on to the...
I was, of course, I was super sad, but I was very proud of them, and they had been on their own life for a while. They hadn't.
I mean, you were separated from them for a while.
We had been separated for a long while, yeah. Yeah, but you know, I don't know. That's another time.
I don't know, I
gotta
always
talk about
think
that another time.
Like pets become members of the family pretty soon.
Yeah.
What are you pointing at the time?
I'm pointing at the time, damn
Yeah.
it. You keep doing this. We say the thing, we're going to go to the thing, and then you...
Talking of penises, have you seen an ostrich penis? No. But
I want to see an ostrich penis.
But here we are.
Now I want to see an ostrich penis.
No, we want to have a whole portion of Isbaz about penises.
Wait a minute.
The penis portion.
Okay, we'll put that on the list.
Yeah, put it on the list.
Okay, so... and
Write it down somewhere.
Well, we've got a thing to write it down.
Yeah, well, I don't.
All right, I'll do it. God damn it.
World's weirdest penises.
Just penises. Okay, good.
Penises.
Does it have to be the weirdest? Because
No, I guess it just has
yours
to
would
be-
be quite up on the list.
Because it's a corkscrew.
Yeah, it goes around corners before
that-
Michael does. It's amazing, his penis. Subjects. Okay,
What were we
penises.
talking about? There's a horniness quote out there somewhere.
Okay, but I need to talk to Moko for a second. Quokkas.
What's a quokka?
Quokkas are evil too, is what she's saying. Quokkas are those tiny little animals that have the little smiley faces. They look like the happiest little animals in the world. And aren't they also the ones that have the square poops?
No, those are wombats.
Wombats have the square poops. Quokkas are the super smiley, happy little animals. I didn't know that they were evil. Tell us how quokkas are evil.
I think roasted duck is definitely the best duck.
Thank you. Thank you.
There's no better
Peter
duck.
Far South.
There's no better duck than roasted
Thank you.
duck.
There is no duck better far south. Okay. I think we've gone.
Like the best, my favorite duck
Yes?
was this Christmas's duck.
This Christmas's duck
Yeah.
was your favorite duck?
Yeah, it's my favorite duck.
Did you name it?
Yeah,
What did you
Isolde.
call it? Isolde, the Christmas duck. Love it.
Ooh, she was so yummy.
Now you know what's going to happen? Zigga, because we have
That's
to move
the
on.
most amazing stinger.
Thank you very
Incredible.
much. Programmed that one last week. And now, Isbaz, which comes to you in 3 parts. will
Part 3?
Come to part 3.
What's part 3, Jim?
Well, I think part 3 is sort of a long title. The idea here was, and I'm not sure we quite got this right, but this is what we're going with. Something about your 10-year-old self. Would your 10-year-old self be
How would your
surprised?
10-year-old self react to what you do today?
How would my 10-year-old self react to what I do today?
I think we need to start this out with what did you think your trajectory was going to be as a 10-year-old, if you even had any thoughts in that direction?
Okay.
I remember reading an advertisement in the newspaper
Yeah.
to take part in a Formula One driver's course.
Okay.
And you had to join this. I think the maximum age was 14 and the minimum age was 11,
Right.
because they'd start you on go-karts. And if you started too late, you were just too old and your reactions were too slow to even get into this.
Right. So
And if you look
had
at
to start
like
young.
the Formula One champions of the past like 20, 30 years, Michael Schumacher and Mika Hakkinen, they all started driving go-karts when they were kids.
Right.
So you had to start this very young. And
Yeah.
this was like one of the first things that I remember thinking, oh wow, this could be a career that could really interest me.
Right.
And I spoke to my dad about this, and I showed him this newspaper clipping. But it also had the price of what this tuition would cost. And it was enormously expensive.
Right.
We're talking like 40 years ago. We're talking $10,000 a month.
It's just, yeah. You're sending your kid to college
Yeah.
when they're, yeah.
When they're 10.
Wow.
Yeah. Well,
I think when I was that age, that was the age where I was really searching a lot. I was trying to to find something to hold on to. I was trying to find a group or a tribe or something. So the reason I say this is because, like, I had a few big hobbies back then. One was baseball. I love baseball.
Really?
Yeah, love baseball. Played baseball,
That
loved it.
surprises me no end.
I
Are you a catcher or a batter?
I played first base.
Which means what?
First base. It was it's the first baseman.
Were you a catcher or a batter? Well, what does that mean? I have no idea about
Okay,
baseball.
I don't have time to teach you about baseball, Michael. So let's move along. All right.
Okay, good. Moving
My
along.
point being, God damn you. So I was super into baseball,
He's
right?
making this up as he's going along.
But then at the same time,
Yeah.
I was really super into the environment. So I was in the Ranger Rick Club, which was part of the World Wildlife Federation, and I would I had this whole thing. I did a whole summer long where I gathered these kids from the neighborhood to do projects where we would do stuff, and then there was this really hard time where to keep the kids interested in hanging out with me, which is basically all I was trying to do because I felt super lonely, I said, okay, there's this gang. The gang is called Trashy. Trashy and his gang. This is a little on the nose, I know, but this is what I told the kids. And I said, Trashy and his gang have been doing stuff as a way to rally the troops against a common enemy. And by doing that, I got the kids to go around the neighborhood with me to clean up trash or to find recyclables. And then there was like a type of fern that was growing on the side of the road, and it had a very strong smell that was very reminiscent to kerosene. And so I said Trashy and his gang had dumped kerosene over here, and so we had to go and water the plants to deactivate the kerosene so that nothing would burn. And so the only reason I'd come up with this was to get these kids to hang out with me and to do these projects with me. Then, one day, my mom was in the kitchen with a bunch of these other parents, and they were all like, okay, Jimmy, well, now we know you don't want to rat anybody out, but who is Trashy and his gang? And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, who's Trashy? And I'm like, I made it up. And they said, look, we know you don't want to, but we need this. We've heard of a lot of the things that Trashy has been doing. So who is it, Jimmy? I'm like, okay. And I tell them the whole story. I was like, I just made it up because I just wanted, because they, I said, Mom, we love your snacks and they're really good, but most of the kids were like, they don't want to eat cinnamon rolls anymore, and so they weren't going to come and hang out in the club. And so I had to come up with something, and so I made it up. And they were like, Jimmy, it's okay, you can tell us the truth. I said, this is the truth. I just made it all up. So you made it up?
I think this is a whole subject. I think this is two parts of an Isbaz to come. Part one will be James's imaginary friends, and part two will be James's imaginary friends revisited.
Okay. I guess all I'm saying is when I was that age, I was really into a lot of things. So I was into baseball, I was into the environment. I was a Boy Scout for a while until my troop leader got arrested for solicitation. That's a different story. And then I was into and then into science. But none of those things stuck except for science. Because then shortly after that, when I was a teenager, I realized I was going to be a physicist.
And you became an actor.
Yeah.
I think this is a valid thing, Verena, actually. I think we should talk about sports at some point.
Put it on the list.
Because these days,
Good works.
Neither you nor I are particularly interested in any kind of sport. It's like
True
we're
that.
not spectators of any sport.
No.
But I think we've both played sports and just moved on.
Yeah.
And so I think there might really be a discussion in there about sports. So thank you, Verena. Wave. Everybody wave to Verena. Wave at the camera.
Okay. I think this idea of our past self looking at our present self, though, just to get back to that, because the whole thing is what would our 10-year-old self be thinking about how we live now?
That's where we started this. Yeah, I completely forgot.
Is about the idea that, I mean, my 10-year-old self, as exploratory as little Jimmy was, he got even worse so in his teenage years. But then when he finally found theater and
Yeah.
performing, I think if you asked that Jimmy, who's maybe, 15 at this point,
Sorry. Yeah.
14, I mean, he'd been doing it for 11, 12, 13, but really like 14, 15 when that felt viable as something.
Yeah.
And then ask that Jimmy what he thinks about the guy who's here. Well, that's a different story.
Well, I remember the first time I asked the first time I wanted to play an instrument must have been, I was 8 or 9.
Okay. I'm going to be around that age a little later, but yeah.
And I wanted to have a flute.
Aw. Okay, you girly girl.
Because
No, I'm kidding. Why the flute, though?
Because
Why
there was
the
a
flute?
song on the radio that had a flute.
Was it Men at Work?
No. I'm much older than that. I was 15 when that song came out.
Okay. What was it? What song had a flute?
I think it was a song called Marie by a singer called Demis Rousseau, who is like a Greek. He might be a Greek South African. I don't know.
I wish if anybody has the moment to be able to see if you can get a link to this
Yeah, I'm
song,
sure you probably
slap
can.
it on the chat. That would be awesome.
And it was on Radio Highveld, which was the radio that my parents had going like all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. that
What
was
did the radio look like, and where was it in your house?
It was in the living room, and it was one of those flat amplifier type radios, and had buttons on this side and had dials on the other side.
Was it
And
on a
it lit
shelf?
up. Yeah, it was on a shelf.
What was the shelf? Was it a bookcase, or was it a shelf into the wall?
Yeah, it was on a. I think at that time it was a bookcase.
Okay.
I think at around about that time we got one of those shelves that had spaces for various hi-fi equipment things and then a
Right.
TV on top. But we only got TV in South Africa in 1977 or 78 or something like. So we only got a TV in 79 or something like that.
Right, and that was your first color TV.
No, that was a black and white TV.
Right.
We got our first color TV in 1982 or
Yeah,
something.
that's right. That's right. You know, Michael had no color TV until like '82. That's amazing. I love that. Okay, so
So I wanted to play the
you
flute.
want to play the flute?
And I remember my dad saying to me, we had this conversation, and I said, I want to play the flute. And he was like, yeah. Well, if you feel the same way, a year from today, we'll get you a flute. By that time, I'd completely forgotten about the flute.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that I didn't start
Yeah.
playing the flute. I think I would have probably profited from playing some kind of instrument
Right, for the instruction.
simply for the instruction.
Yeah.
But I also have to say, about 2 years later, I started taking music lessons at the school that I was going to. And the music teacher we had was so horrible
Yeah.
that I learned nothing. Nothing whatsoever.
Yeah. I think my music teacher, when I was in first, second grade, I really wish I could remember this man's name, but he was a bundle of joy who looked a little bit like Santa Claus. He had white thinning hair, but a big bushy white beard, and he played the auto harp. And he sang with gusto.
What's an auto harp?
An auto harp, an
Auto or
auto,
auto?
like an auto, like an automobile, like an
auto.
automatic harp. It's an instrument. It has many strings, like a piano or a harp, and has buttons that dampen some of the strings, so it plays the chord. So you'll have you'll have all the chords, and then you press it, and it's often played like this, but sometimes he played it like this.
Never seen
You have, I'm sure you have,
this
an auto
instrument
harp.
before, but
We're going to
it
show
makes
Mike, he
perfect
knows
sense.
what it is. But he sang with such gusto and with such verve, and he got all of us to sing, and there are so many songs that he sang that I still remember. Then later,
Name one.
turkey in the barnyard. What do you say? Gobble, gobble, gobble all the day.
Can the auto harp play diminished chords?
Yeah,
It can play any chord.
yeah.
Cool.
Didn't Dolly Parton play that? Yes, Dolly Parton played an auto harp.
Really cool.
Yes, of course. He knows what it is. He just
No, I
being
don't.
Michael
But
at the moment.
but I
And
remember
with
seeing
the-
Dolly Parton
Anna
playing.
Baumgartner, hello, nice to see you.
You here for the first time. I remember
Thank
seeing
you.
Dolly Parton play the guitar after I'd started learning to play the guitar,
Oh yeah,
which must have been 86, maybe. And she played, she had these huge plastic fingernails, and she still managed to play the guitar somehow.
right.
I was in awe of it, like, how does she do that? How can it cannot be done?
Yeah, but Dolly Parton.
Dolly
is just
Parton,
a national
yeah,
treasure,
she's a miracle.
right?
Yeah. But Moko, I think you're referring to, like, my dad was, okay, so the flute, cool. We'll see how you feel about that in a year, and we'll take it from there. You know?
I mean, it's not dumb. It's not dumb what your
It's
dad
certainly
did.
not dumb. Otherwise, you end up with a whole room full of instruments that your kids no longer play.
Yeah, because how much of our lives are spent on impulse or the things that we think are on fire.
Sure.
It reminds me of putting stuff into a box, closing it, taping it, putting the date on it, and then putting it somewhere.
In the cellar.
And then
then moving it 3 times.
if you haven't touched it then after a year,
Yeah.
throw that shit out.
Yeah.
You don't need it.
I've been in our cellar quite a lot recently because I've been repainting our kitchen chairs.
Good on you. What
And-
color are they going to be?
Red. They're like the darkest red up here.
Okay.
I've already got one done.
Interesting.
But there's stuff in our cellar
Right.
that is still in boxes from when you helped me move last time.
Right.
That's like a long time ago.
That's the okay.
Works well with pet wishes too.
I don't know
yes,
if
I would like to have a pet shark. We'll see how you feel about that in a year.
Yeah, let's see how you feel about that in a year. So I'm going to put this down as stuff as another subject because we need to talk about stuff. There's
Oh.
a physics of stuff. We're going to have to talk about stuff.
Yeah.
But it reminds me of that about the whole box thing. But the idea of, just breathing for a little bit on that super impulse, that thing, and that's, I guess, what I meant when I was that age. I was looking all the time, and that went for a long time. And so, yeah, you had all of these impulses, and God bless my mother, who enabled a lot of those impulses, more than she probably had the bandwidth to do. And so, hats off to Donna.
Yeah.
But I think at that time, that's when you have that. It's kind of like even in your 20s, you do too, right?
Bring it back to, would the 10-year-old Jim,
Yeah.
what would the 10-year-old Jim think of what you do today?
I think he would be amazed that we're doing this in my house. I think he'd be amazed at the wonderful
TV studio in your house.
at the wonderful amount of friends that he has that I have now. I think he would be amazed at the wonderful friendships and relationships that I have now. I think he would be amazed at the possibilities that we have now, how much better life is after the internet. I think
We
he
agree that life is better after the internet, except for online shopping.
Yeah. I think 10-year-old Jim would be, for the most part, pretty psyched about me right now. I'm going to say that. I don't think he would be.
Yeah, I think
super
my
disappointed.
10-year-old self would also be quite happy with the way things have turned out. I always think about going back and just making like augmentations.
Yeah.
A little tweak there.
Yeah.
And what if I did that?
I think my 10-year-old self would have some complaints. I know my 16-year-old self would have some complaints. I'm sure my 30-year-old self would have a lot of complaints.
Yeah, but I remember your 30-year-old self. That was a bitch to hang around.
So I think we got that. You know what?
It's been 3 parts, people.
It has been 3
Thursday in
parts.
3 parts. It's been Isbaz. We didn't get round to finding out why Jim's haircut looks so much more tidy than mine
Oh, you want to
does.
know why it is?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So the thing is, when my hair gets really long, I have to part it on the other side. That's why it feels so different. So I've parted it on the other. Usually it's parted this way. I've parted it this way, and now it looks fairly neat. But
Really?
that's the
I
trick.
do that myself. Like my parting moves from here. This thing's back to front. So it moves from here
Yeah.
to the middle,
Yeah.
and then when it gets really long, I have to put it on that side.
Right.
But it's not long enough to do that yet, and it gets really unruly.
Yeah.
Like it's,
Oh, dude. Yesterday I thought
I
I
think
looked
my
like.
hair grows faster than yours as well.
Oh, it's
We
on.
had a haircut the
It
same
is
day. I remember.
on. Shit is on.
You're losing, motherfucker. You're
it's
losing. I'm
on.
growing faster than
Oh
you.
man, it's on.
Penis comparison now. Lay it on the
Hair
table.
growth. Yeah, it's on, baby.
So, penises and hair growth. That's what we're doing next week.
I'm writing hair growth down. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I'm gonna write it down. No, I think.
Okay, so pictures of our 10-year-old selves.
See, once we're gonna move on with that. We're working on the tech, and you know what? We're gonna find a way to be able to do that sort of thing soon.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got hair growth for next time. We're so happy that
We're
everyone
moving
joined
penises
us.
down the road somewhere.
Exactly. Next week we're gonna be back at 8:30
Yeah.
on Thursday.
Did you remember to write down what our topics are for next week?
No.
Nor did I.
So
Note to self.
note to self.
Make a list of things.
Make a list of things. It could be that they're already out there.
They are. Yeah,
Okay.
if you go to YouTube now, you can see what we said 3 weeks ago that we're going to be talking about next week, but we've just forgotten.
Okay, awesome.
And we would,
Thank
yeah.
you, past self.
yeah.
Hey, our past selves were awesome.
Well, not awesome enough to leave us a note
No,
for now.
no. But thank you all for joining us, all the new folks and all the old folks. You know what I mean? That's awesome
Yeah.
and terrific. And in these times of weird separation and distance, it's awfully nice to know that you're all out there, and that's the biggest joy of all. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Oh.
Thank you for posting so much today
Yeah.
in our chat, and it's so nice to have new people joining the chat, and it's also so rewarding to have people come back
Yeah.
every week
Yeah.
and post and take
Yeah.
part in this conversation.
Yeah.
I can't express enough. I don't know the words to express how satisfying and how pleasuring and how
It's very pleasing. It's like this Sure Fix. I can't
like
remember the
we-
last time
it's
we've
like
done anything
we
so
do this
regular.
thing,
And we
you
do
know?
it, and then people show up, and it's
Yeah.
really awesome. And we love it very much. So thank you all very much. If you haven't, it apparently does help. You can hit the subscribe button and or the like button, and
well,
that's
okay.
awesome.
It definitely does help us if you hit a like. If you like the show, please like the show, and if you want to subscribe,
Yeah.
that's cool.
'Cause-
I don't know what this thing about subscribe and the bell is, because it seems like you're doing the same thing twice.
It does seem like it, but the bell is not the like. The like
Yeah.
is a different thing.
Yeah, I know that.
Okay.
So this is where next week our credits are going to roll, and we're going to
promises, promises.
and we're going to fade out. So Jim and I will be like,
I didn't even know he was dead, but you won't be able to hear it.
I didn't even. Yeah, but that'll pop out like something that got spoken into wormhole 3 galaxies away. I didn't even know he was dead. And suddenly, electric warfare will take place.
All right, we're super excited. Thank you all very much. We're saying good night. Good
More
night,
Dolly
everyone.
Parton. More Dolly Parton.
Yeah, more. Absolutely.
The world definitely needs.
Let's all keep more Dolly
yeah,
Parton in our lives, and take care of each other. If you have the possibility, take care of somebody else too. And
yeah. Take care of your pet.
we'll talk all soon. Bye, Verena.
See you
Wave,
guys.
everybody wave to Verena.
Everybody wave
Best
Arena.
Isbaz ever.
Yeah, I think so.
That was really the good one.
Yeah, a really good one.
Yeah, it was a really good one. Bye, guys.
Pavlov, thank you for
Friends,
explaining
neighbors, everyone in between.
that. Awesome.
Bye.